All right. So now we're about to move on to Sagittarius. You've got to, this reading applies to those with a Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius moon, and with Sagittarius rising. Now I'm a Sagittarius sun, so I especially have to pay attention to this one. All right. So the cards I pulled were Five of Wands reversed, Four of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Judgment, Seven of Cups, and Page of Swords. Um, and for the advice section, I got the Six of Wands, and the underlying message was the Five of Cups. Now, there seems to be a message of moving forward here, um, and in a positive way among the cards. At the heart of this, we have the Five of Wands card reversed, which indicates that Sagittarius are putting their energy into avoiding battles. The question is why? Avoiding conflict can sometimes sound like a good thing because conflict can be messy. The Lord knows conflict can be messy. However, conflict is a method for change. Sometimes it can lead to learning, it can lead to positive growth if you approach it properly. Um, and this can be connected with the Six of Wands card, which is in the advice section, because the Six of Wands signals victory, success, and public reward. So victory only happens after a conflict. Success only happens after you put in the work, which can go into conflict. Like what you have to do can come into conflict with what you want to do. So avoiding conflict, the Six of Wands could mean that I might need to get into conflict because, or embrace whatever conflict I need to get into because that conflict, getting into that conflict has positive benefits at the end of it. That's something to think about because unconsciously, there's the Ace of Pentacles, which signals opportunity, prosperity, and a new venture in a material way. Um, aces equal opportunity, and this material opportunity is what the underlying feeling that Sagittarius are feeling. But consciously, you have the Seven of Cups, which signals choices, fantasy, and illusion. So consciously, we may understand that there are choices that may need to be made. We also might have some fantasies associated with those choices. Um, and that can lead to a sort of misguided approach, which is something to be wary of. But unconsciously, we feel the need to grow, but in a material wise, to make some things manifest. That's what the underlying feeling is. Um, so that's something to consider. But in terms of getting into that conflict and no longer avoiding it or respecting those differences, the challenge card, the Four of Cups, signals apathy, contemplation, and disconnectedness. So there might be the way the challenge comes into play in this spread might be a good period or like not a good period. We might be in a period of not caring, and if you're not caring, then you're not moving because you have nothing driving you towards going in a direction. If you don't care, if you're really apathetic, you're going to stay where you are. You know, some type of emotion needs to drive you in a direction, whether it be the right one or the wrong one. It still needs to drive you somewhere, or it can drive you to stay still, which is apathy. Um, or you might be stagnant because you're still thinking about some things. Uh, because moments of contemplation are crucial. That's where the Seven of Cups could come into play. Like you're thinking about all the choices, you're thinking about all the possibilities, you're thinking about all the things that could come about, but all these things haven't come about. They're still, for lack of a better term, they're not real. Like these are possibilities. This isn't the reality. the possibility is still an illusion. If you attach yourselves to only an impossibility, you're attaching yourself to an illusion. You still have to, what is going on right now? And um, contemplating is a good thing. Having that moment of contemplation is true. But when it leads to you being stagnant and not making a decision at all, it's a problem. And with the past, judgment being in the past, the judgment card being in the past position, you've probably done the reflective work. You've probably listened to your inner voice and analyzed all your internal workings and all the external environmental factors. And so now it's a matter of like you putting what you dissected into work. Now June might be the time for the action. June might be the time for you to put into that work, like those Ace of Pentacles, manifesting whatever it is, that feeling of needing to manifest, that might be something to mull over for the month of June. Because you're aware of all the choices in front of you, and you have this desire to make something manifest, and you might have done the reflective work in the past, but now what are you going to do with all that? You got to move it somewhere. You got to do something. There's some action required. So that's something to consider. And so with the Five of Cups in the underlying message, there might be feelings of losing something that might make you hesitant, or there might be feelings of you were disappointed with what you had to give up. The thing to consider is, yes, you might have lost something, but can you get it back? And if you can get it back, then there might not be a need to worry because you can get it back. And you might not have really lost it. It just might be misplaced for a time, if you will. But if you can't get what you lost back, next question to ask yourself is, do you truly need it? Because you're still here after losing it. So you're still here. Despite what you lost, you're still here. So do you really need it as much as you might think you need it? Because the Five of Cups signals loss, grief, and disappointment. Whatever you've lost, is it worth grieving over to the point where you don't move forward? Like, you can be mad that you lost something. You lost something. There's nothing wrong with having that attachment to it. But once that attachment is severed, it shouldn't stop you from moving forward. It shouldn't stop you from moving forward in a positive way. It shouldn't stop you from growing. So that's something to consider. Like, if you don't you're still here after losing it. So do you truly need it? And if you don't need it, then should you really be devoting so much time to grieve over it? Should you be holding up your life to grieve over it, is what I should say. And then the final question is, what can you replace what you have lost? Because like I said in some other readings, move some things out of the way. Sacrificing, you got to move some things out of the way that you no longer need and that's no longer helping you. That's the air conditioner. And in doing that, you can make room for something new to manifest. So that might be something to consider. Like, what can replace what you have lost? It may not be the same thing, but that might be the point. It doesn't have to be the same thing. It really shouldn't be the same thing. It should be something new that adds to you, that you're replacing it with. But that was the reading for Sagittarius. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I hope that helps. And that's it. So now moving on to Capricorn. So for Capricorn, this applies to Capricorn Sun, Moon, and Rising. So for Capricorn, we have the cards I pulled were the Moon card, the Wheel of Fortune, Justice reversed, Knight of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and Knight of Cups. And the advice section, we have the Hierophant reversed. Um, and the underlying message, we have Six of Swords reversed. So the theme of this reading might be releasing some things, including your own self. So at the heart, we have the moon, which is, as in the past, unconscious illusions and intuition. And with the challenge, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which signals no control, or you're clinging to control, or bad luck. The Wheel of Fortune reversed signals no control, or clinging to control, or bad luck. So you might be stuck in an illusion of some sort, and not in a good way. This illusion could stem for you thinking you can try and take control over everything, or it's an illusion based in not realizing you're out of control, as shown with the Wheel of Fortune being reversed. Because the Wheel of Fortune is like the wheel of fate. It's constantly turning. You have your up moments, you have your down moments. There are times where you're going to have highs, and times where you're going to have lows. There are times it's just inevitable. You're going to have positive moments, you're going to have negative moments. You'll have to go through it. Like, you'll go through bad moment days and you'll go through good days. But when it's reversed, there's a sense that it's all out of whack. Like, there's no inevitability to it. It's like there's a sense of that orderliness of the wheel is going wrong. And that could be something that you might have to overcome to get out of this illusion that you might be having. Because consciously, you have the Eight of Swords reversed, which means self-acceptance, new perspective, and freedom. So you might be approaching your situation with a sense of change and freedom, but you might still be carrying out negative patterns, because unconsciously there's the Justice reverse. And Justice reversed signals dishonesty, unaccountability, and unfairness. So you might still be carrying these underlying feelings of, not really moving towards the truth, not really recognizing how much control you have over your life, that unaccountability. You're either trying to control too much, or not controlling enough, or not. You're either letting things happening to you, or you're trying to control everything that happens to you. And that unfairness might be connected with that sense of bad luck that the Wheel of Fortune reversed signals. So these negative patterns that you might still be carrying out are straying you from your truth. And this could be connected to the underlying message of unresolved issues with the Six of Swords reversed. There might be something that you're still holding on to that puts you in such a negative space. Because in the past, you have the Knight of Pentacles reversed, which signals laziness, obsessiveness, and work without reward. So you were charging like a knight, but you weren't charging, or maybe you weren't charging at all. And okay, hold on one minute. Sorry about that. That's my alarm. 7:45 p.m. Okay, but yeah, you're probably not charging. You're probably not putting that energy to good use, and you're just resting in the material world, like the Pentacles rule over. So like, you're not using. You probably in the past you might have not used. You might have not moved forward. You might have just rested and just stayed stagnant and not put in any work in the past. And now you might be wrapped up in some sort of illusion of some sort. And, because in the near future, you have the Knight of Cups reversed, which signals a moodiness and a disappointment. The fact that you might not be moving where you want to be moving, or you're just stuck somewhere, or things aren't working out the way you feel like they should be, can lead to you being disappointed. you're not, these negative behaviors don't augur well for you in the near future. Like, if you're constantly not putting in work and you're still trying to either control everything or not taking control of yourself, and you're not being honest with yourself, accountable to yourself, but yet you still say, you want freedom and you want a new perspective, that's not going to lead to you having a good outcome. You still might end up disappointed because there's so much negative patterns that you might have to rework and undo. Because the underlying message was just the Six of Swords reversed. There might be something that you're still holding on to that puts you in such a negative space. This aspect might be why the Hierophant is reversed in the advice position. So, like, the advice with the Hierophant reversed is to rebel, subvert some things, new approaches. You might seriously need to shake up some things. You might need to really, like, shake the table, shake yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. You might need to shake yourself free of whatever these negative patterns are to really make some type of change that you want. Because if you truly want to achieve the freedom you desire, then you might have to commit to letting some things go and taking the path that hasn't been beaten for you. You're going to have to try. Change is essentially, in your changing behavior might be necessary, and that means you might have to go with some things that you're not quite comfortable with. Because with these cards, it seems like you're comfortable in this negative space, and so the difficulty is you moving out of that, and that's going to lead to some discomfort. But it's necessary because in the end, it helps you. It helps you grow positively. So I hope that resonated with you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Thanks.